time I won't. Forever, 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 yeah.
Yo, what is good, guys? It is Hustle Williams back with another episode, and today I got my boy Ecom Tom up in here. And
How's it going, everybody?
What is good? And if you guys did not know, Ecom Tom did approximately $1.3 million in sales last year alone. So that's why we're going to call this video Ecom Tom, the $1.3 million man. And without further ado, let's get into it. Tom, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, how's it going, everybody? I'm Ecom Tom. I'm sure some of you guys have seen me on my YouTube channel. I've just been making videos about Amazon and eBay dropshipping, mainly Amazon recently, but still doing a lot of eBay dropshipping in the back end. And yeah, I've been making videos dropshipping on YouTube on eBay for about 2 years, making videos on YouTube for about a year and a couple months now, I believe. And yeah, I've been selling a lot. Last year, as Brian said, I did almost 1.4 million in sales on eBay, but it was different times back then where the sales, it is money. You make a lot of money doing so, but it was a lot lower profit margins back then than it is now with the new methods we've been doing. And the best part about that is you don't have to do as many sales to make as much money. And that's really what I love about what we're doing right now. So we've been calling it manual eBay dropshipping. With Amazon, it's just regular, but it's pretty much the same methods and techniques, just with and just a few different software. And yeah, doing right now about probably like 90,000 a month in sales, and the profit margins are wild. On eBay, it's around 10% front end. And then on Amazon, I've been getting some crazy numbers. Like I was just telling Brian before this, I hit a sale that was $180 profit twice the other day. So I'm around $380 altogether in profit from those two orders. And yeah, I've been hitting like $300, $400 profit days on Amazon pretty regularly, a couple $500 days in there. eBay, a couple $100, $200 a day. And yeah, we're just killing it, pushing forward. And there's still more items to be listed out there.
That's fantastic. Once again, this is Tom, Ecom Tom, the $1.3 million man. So, Tom, I wanted to talk too. You have a course. It's a manual drop shipping course. You want to let us know a little bit about it and what you teach in that course. So, in case people don't know and like how you learned it.
Yeah, so basically for anybody that's new to dropshipping, since the beginning of 2019, it was actually towards the end of 2018, but nobody really accepted the fate of it yet. I was like, oh, well, my sales are dropping, my impressions are dropping, everything's dropping. And I'm trying my hardest just to make more sales with a flagged account. So eBay finally admitted about 3, 4, 5 months ago, I'm not even sure, in their spring seller update that they are in fact flagging accounts. And they're flagging accounts that are breaking their dropshipping policy. And their dropshipping policy is that you cannot use retailers in order to dropship onto eBay. Same thing with Amazon. They've basically made the same exact rules as Amazon now. And you are not allowed to use any API-related software for repricing and in and out, putting your items in and out of stock. An API is just a way for a program to connect into eBay and pretty much just direct connection to eBay. So they said you're not allowed to do that. That's actually been a rule for a while, but they never enforced it. And they really I feel like just suddenly got sick of it and decided to take action upon it. So since that happened, we had to come up with a new method. And the new method was basically, first off, really taking care of your account. It's one of the number one things I'm trying to teach inside the new course, because which got completely redone in the beginning of April. So April 1st, it just relaunched. It's only like 4 months, 5 months old now. But it's really just taking care of your account, customer service, cases, and everything like that. Over the last year and a half, 2 years, eBay's made, it very hard to be doing what we're doing and neglect your account. Because in the beginning, when I first started about 2 years ago, you could neglect your account for days, literally not even answer questions, have all these cases open, all these negative feedback, customers pissed off at you, and it didn't really matter. They didn't do anything about it. But eBay is finally starting to take themselves a little seriously, and you can't not pay attention to anything and still run a dropshipping store. It's not gonna work. You're gonna get banned of some sort.
For sure.
So it's pretty much the number one thing. Besides that, it's also using software, but in the right way, in a smart way, a way that's not connecting to eBay's API, in a way that is really, it's manual in the sense that there's more work, but you're not in your store doing everything manually. Like, you can still upload tracking numbers, not manually, but it's really just usually just using Chrome extensions that aren't connecting into eBay. So while using those Chrome extensions and utilizing virtual assistants, which I also have a course on, you can pretty much do exactly what we used to be doing, but you don't have to be doing it on a large scale because your account's not flagged. You don't have to have tens of thousands of items on your store. And I've seen people making a killing with only like 500, 600 listings on their store, like $70,000, $80,000 a month in sales. And, I did a video the other day where I started a brand new account. I only had 126 items on it. At the end of the first 30 days, I ended up selling 20,000 or 21,000 in sales. So that account's still going, and, we're just building it up and just taking it to the next level. It's a completely different method than it was before. And I'm really loving it because of the fact that it's a lot less work. And it might sound harder because it's manual, but it's really a lot less work because there's so many less sales. You don't have to sell a ton. I remember last year in 2018, I sold 373 items, I believe, in one day in August.
Yeah.
And it really didn't even equate. It probably equated to the same amount as me selling, 25, 30 items a day on eBay now.
Right. So basically, Tom has in his new course is just a restructured way on how to dropship on eBay that basically doesn't connect to the API anymore. Uses a series of software that works with a few Chrome extensions, and he's been able to find different ways and new suppliers that are less mainstream, such as like Walmart and Amazon, and find these other hidden gems that not a lot of people have found. And as you guys know, I currently work with Zik Analytics. I work with Nahar every Thursday, and I do webinars with him. So Tom is like broken down Zik Analytics to like figure it out so in depth that he can actually discover new stores based off of how a seller is doing, which is pretty phenomenal. And this is why he does so well on eBay. So also along with that, Tom has been working on a couple of things in the background. I know you're doing your Amazon store. I know you just put out your new Amazon video lately too. But we're going to stick a little bit with eBay. So I wanted to ask, like, there's a new rumor that's going around about these unflagged accounts, and I wanted to get your opinion. So me and you both know we each had a flagged account. I have one of mine still in the background, and I haven't jumped onto it yet. But I've been seeing all these comments that are coming out on Facebook that eBay has unflagged accounts. And I've reached out to some top dogs that I know within the game yesterday, and they were like, yeah, this is true. Some accounts are unflagged. So I haven't taken it out yet, but I'm actually going to test that account out during the end of this week to see what happens. And I want to know your opinion. What do you want to do about it, and how do you feel about it? What do you think is going on?
Yeah, so I have seen that as well. We have a couple students in our course, in the private group for the course, that are talking about it. And I've seen it in the free groups as well. And as great as it sounds, sure, it's awesome. You get your account unflagged. That's sweet. You put a lot of work into the account, because that was the number one thing I saw with these new methods that I'm teaching. I'm like, you have to just create a new account. That account's flagged. It doesn't get unflagged. As far as I knew, and as far as I know now, still, I'm not going to say they're getting unflagged right away, but it does seem as if there is a possibility that is happening. But you have to also take into consideration that eBay has been extremely hard on people over the last 8 months, talking about, flagging accounts and everything like that. So if you're still using the automated repricing and the automated in and out of stocks and the huge bulk listing of thousands of items on your store at a time, when all of those items are changing prices nonstop and everything, it's going to be pretty easy for eBay to check and tell that your account's, breaking their terms of service again. So although it is great that you put all this time and effort into this one account, and that was the one thing I saw where people were like, I have 5,000 feedback on this account, like, I can't let it go. And I'm like, well, would you rather make no money and not let it go and just have your account with a bunch of feedback because it looks cool, or to start a brand new account? Because I've sold on brand new accounts numerous times with zero feedback, and you get sales the same day, next day, as long as you know what you're doing. So, in my opinion, I have seen a lot of people talking about it. I haven't tested it out myself, and I don't know if I am going to test it out myself, just because I really don't want to risk just hopping on a flagged account again, and it's going to take a bunch of time to do so. I might list a couple items up just as a test, but in reality, if you go back to doing what you used to be doing just because your account's unflagged, then there's a high likelihood, in my opinion, that you're just going to get flagged again.
Right.
But maybe eBay had, a change of heart where I was saying you're never going to see your account unflagged again. and my accounts had been flagged for, I did a video on it, flagged versus unflagged accounts, probably about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago. And, the difference was like crazy between the impressions and everything. I was making sales on this brand new unflagged account when the flagged account had like 10,000 feedback on it, looked like a big baller account, but in reality still wasn't even getting anybody to see the items.
Right.
So, I mean, if you hop back on your old account, just make sure that you're still following the new ways if your account's unflagged. But in reality, it sounds great, and I know a lot of people are excited about it, but I don't see really any big difference or change that has happened, minus the fact that maybe eBay is unflagging the accounts that haven't been using software, API related software in a while, and they just decided to give it back to you. But if you just go and do what you used to do, you're probably just going to fall right back in the same place.
Yeah, either way, I totally agree. I just find it extremely interesting that eBay just decided like recently, like, okay, we need to make a dire change. And I had read this in one of the posts. I don't know where I saw it, but it actually said that once eBay makes a hard reset, everything kind of like resets itself. So like all those flagged accounts could be seemed unflagged now. And I've seen this happen in the past. I've had an MCO11 restricted account where I've been able to open up other accounts shortly afterwards. So it isn't unfathomable to think that eBay would do a hard reset on this. So like you have to take this with a grain of salt. But I've also seen some of these forum posts where people are just like, after this happened, they were like, oh, the competition has become so fierce. And me and Tom can speak about this because I'm pretty sure we were both dominating when this was first going on anyways. And I did 500,000 and Tom did over 1.3 million. And like we were in the midst of the most competitive eBay drop shipping phenomena you guys could ever imagine at that point. So it was 10 times as competitive as it is now. And I know I see some people who are posting like, oh my God, it's gotten so hard now that they've, unflagged the people who were flagged. It hasn't gotten harder. It's not going to get harder. It's just, you have to list a few more items and be a little bit more competitive with your pricing. You still have all the game-changing aspects in your grasp right now. Especially, I don't know, for me, like it was unbelievable how my sales were flourishing with non-API integrated software. So for instance, when I run my store, I just put out a video about this, but I'll talk about it again. I run spot and paste, which is a fantastic time saver. It saves you hours and hours and hours of time of copy and pasting, especially when you have great sales. Okay, so spot and paste is one of the key software.
Another thing to say about spot and paste is anybody can use spot and paste. It's not just for drop shippers.
Right.
All it does is, I asked Jenny the other day, I was like, how does it actually work? And you have a software that's doing the same thing now. And all it is just reading the HTML of the page that's behind the page that you're on. It's not connecting into eBay's API. It's just literally reading the HTML of the page behind it, which is just the way that the page is built. And then it's just pulling it to the forefront and putting it there on your screen. It's really doing absolutely nothing, and there's no way it can be detected.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And it's one of those softwares that you should start utilizing now. So like while the unflagging is taking place, and let's just say you have software that's API integrated, and then all of a sudden, like, a few weeks down the line, eBay is just like, all right, enough's enough. And they cut the floods again, and they do that reset, and they stop all the promoted listings again. Like, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. You gotta play the risk game. You gotta know which is higher risk than the others. We've already seen that running API software is a way higher risk than it is to do non-integrated API software right now. So stick with the Chrome extensions, stick with the non-API software. So I was saying spot and paste I run. I use Zik Analytics for my research all the time.
It doesn't connect to your account at all.
Nothing does. And then I also use TrackerBot non-API as well. And then I'm also using SKUGrid, which is using it for the upload factor. You can do that, but I personally like to do my listings manually on eBay and then upload them, which has even gotten easier with the new summer update. So with the new summer update, you're able to actually add users into your eBay account, which is phenomenal. So like now, like it's just even getting easier for you guys to do this. And like all these non API integrated softwares are competing with this and understanding like, okay, we got to listen to the users, and they're actually making the adjustments, and now you're getting able to create an automated system again, which is what we all want. Okay, so like, I don't know, Tom, like, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, there's one thing I want to talk about. Well, first off, with Zik Analytics, when I said like it's not even connected to your account, it's never been connected to your account. It literally has never connected to a person's account. All it does is reads it. It goes into eBay's API, but it just reads eBay for you. It's never going to connect to your account. You don't have to put your account in there. You don't have to do anything. So all that is just a research tool, and it's the same thing as if you wanted to go through and do it all on your own, but all it's doing is just helping you out while doing so. That's what all these softwares are doing, is just helping you out get done what you could get done on your own, except, it's just a little bit longer of a process to not use them. And another thing is, when I came out of the gates talking about API related software and everything, it's a way to make it so that the masses can understand that you don't connect any API to your account. Don't connect any API to your account. But in reality, if you go into eBay's API terms of service, all you have to do is type in eBay API terms of service. Might be terms and conditions, but there's a section 9. If you scroll down, it's called what you can't use it for. And section 9.7 talks about don't use a software to help promote seller arbitrage or retail arbitrage, which is you taking an item from Walmart or wherever and putting it onto eBay. So that's why I'm saying don't use API software like all these other automatic listers and all these automatic repricers and stuff. But there's tons of other ways to use API. Like if I came out in my first video and said, you can use this API, but you can't use this. If you can do this, then you can't do that. It's going to confuse more people than it's going to help.
Correct.
But there's endless amounts of possibilities that you can connect the API to. There's a program called Zapier out there where you can connect to anything's API. And all it does is it brings calls in. So you can connect Zapier to your eBay. And then every time you make a sale on eBay, you can say, hey, bring this information from this sale into an Excel sheet so my VAs can easily, process profits or anything like that. It doesn't matter. That's perfectly fine. But as long as you're using API software that's not breaking the rules that are clearly stated in their terms and conditions, then you're good. But it's very hard for somebody like me who has a decently large following on YouTube come out and just say, all right, this is what you're allowed to do. This is what you're not allowed to do. But in this instance, maybe you can do it. It's just a lot easier to make it more black and white.
Right. So I'll break that down a little bit for all you guys that are kind of wondering exactly what he's trying to say. And Tom is explaining it extremely well, but I just wanted to reiterate exactly what he's saying. So there are softwares out there that are known as listers and repricers, okay? And a lot of those softwares eBay has been going against recently, and they don't want them on there because it causes a flurry of competition, and there's a lot of price altering that happens, and it's just a distraction to the end customer on eBay. So what they're getting rid of is a lot of these listing and repricing softwares, and they're not really allowing it. So these are the API integrated softwares we're talking about. Now, as opposed to using others such as like SKUGrid, which doesn't connect to the API. So SKUGrid has another way. And there's also somebody else who just reached out to me who came out with a new listing and repricing software that doesn't connect to the API as well. And I'm going to be testing that. But if you go back and you read in the terms of service, what eBay doesn't allow for the API integration, they don't want your prices to be automatically adjusted. They don't want tracking to be automatically added. And they don't want listings to be automatically added. These things are like a no-no in eBay's eyes. And that's what Tom's trying to get across to you guys. What he is saying is connected to an API are softwares that follow eBay's rules, that do other characteristics of the job to get it done by exporting certain data and making it easier for his VAs to understand. Like some of this would be, go for it, Tom. What software would you say is following the rule? What exactly does it do?
What? I mean, I use Zapier.
Zapier.
And all Zapier does is it connects any program to any other program as long as it's on there. They have like 1,500 apps. So I do anything with it. If I'm uploading something to Google Drive, I can have it automatically send that video to my virtual assistants who are using a program like Slack, which is a communications program. You can do anything with this program, but they do integrate with eBay. eBay's on there, Amazon's on there. And I have it so that every time I make a sale on Amazon, it sends a message to my virtual assistants on Slack and says, hey, a new sale came in. That being said, my VAs can say, hey, a new sale came in, let's go process it. What if the item goes out of stock if they don't process it for 6 hours? Things like that. That's more top level, top tier things. But you can do it with eBay. Say, hey, every time I get an order, send this order's information to a Google Sheet, and then it just makes it a little bit less work for my virtual assistant to have to fill out in the Google Sheets. It's all about automating your work, but automating in the right way, in a smart way, so that whatever program you're using is okay with it. And I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole because it does get intricate and a little complicated. But as long as you're not using all these other softwares out there and you know who they are. Anything besides SKUGrid, really. There's a couple others at the moment that are trying to come out with their non-API integrated software. But just stick with SKUGrid and manually uploading your items, and you should be good.
Right. So basically, that was our topic about the new unflagged accounts and how we feel about it. We still, in my heart, and I still believe thoroughly that you guys should stick with the non-API, ride the wave, and don't let that risk reward take over. You know what I'm saying? Be careful with your risks. Take calculated risks. So without further ado, let's slam Tom Comiers with some fucking top-notch questions. We got this $1.3 million guy on here. We are going to annihilate him with some questions right now and get to the nitty-gritty. So these aren't going to be too crazy. I'm trying to figure out what you guys want to know and what I can get out of him to help you guys. All right, for a basic eBay dropshipper who's just getting started, what do you recommend? Where should they start? And name some softwares they can get familiar with to help them get started. So go for it, man.
First off, if you're looking to get started with eBay and you don't know what you're doing, or you just started right out of the blue,
they don't know what they're doing. So
they have no idea what they're doing. First off, just take the time out to make an account and then understand the metrics. I think that's one of the biggest things a lot of people don't do. They get all excited because they're like, I can make all this money online. And, there's a lot of people out there telling them you can make $10,000 a month doing this. And you can, but you have to do it in a smart way. And you have to have your processes and your system set down properly. So if you're going to hop on, start listing a bunch of items right away, and then all of a sudden, you're not paying attention to your returns, you're not paying attention to your cases, you're not doing good customer service, you're probably going to get in trouble, and your account's most likely going to get banned in some way, shape, or form. So you want to make sure you understand your metrics, understand, I have a lot of beginners come to me and say, my account just went below standard, I don't know why, how do I fix this? But if you just took the time to read the metrics that are down there, all your tracking uploaded on time, cases closed without seller resolution, other things like that. Sounds boring, sounds mundane, but if you want a business that's going to last for a while, then you're going to have to actually pay attention to it. If you want a business that you're going to make some quick cash and then you're probably going to get banned, then you can, if you want, you don't have to pay attention to them. From there, ask questions in the group forums and the group Facebook groups. Any question you have is, I run a Facebook group of 16,000 people right now. So always people asking, answering questions. And also just, take your time, grow slowly, and don't blow your account up. Because if you don't know what you're doing and you're making all these sales, because you can make a decent amount of sales on eBay and especially on Amazon right off the bat, then if you don't know what you're doing, there's high room for error there. So, you don't want to be making any mistakes. And you really want to make sure that your account is in good standing for at least the first 3 months of either your eBay or your Amazon journey, just because that's pretty much the high risk time for any brand new account.
Right. So I'm just going to even make it simpler than what Tom just said, but I want to hit you guys with my criteria for what you guys should be doing right off the bat. Tom has a free Facebook group that is just jam-packed with knowledge. And what I want to iterate to you guys may get, you're probably going to get hyped because you saw how much he made right off the bat. $1.3 million. And I can't express it enough. That is a ton of money, correct? But this takes time, okay? So some problems you may face if you start getting into eBay early is you may find an item that sells. Like you may go ahead, start up a store and go ahead and list an item that you found off of one of your retail websites that you thought was a good item to sell. However, because you didn't set up your account right, you're going to come to find out that this item is being shipped to Puerto Rico. You need to ship this to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And it happens.
I even made that mistake on my last brand new account I made. The first item went to Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah. This happens more often than you could ever imagine. So what I want you to do is to take some time and learn the basics. Like reach out to me or Tom Comiers. I'm in Tom's group too. And just talk to us about how to set up your eBay accounts first. Because there's a strict guideline you guys want to meet. My second opinion about this as well is before you even get into drop shipping, I highly recommend going out and thrifting first, because you're going to learn the basics of how things sell and how to get them started. So I know myself, I started out thrifting, and I'm sure Tom Comiers started off thrifting as well. And I think it is the basic introduction to eBay and what eBay was originally built for. So you guys may not like this off the bat, you just want to get started. Go and find some items that sell well and start listing them on your account to make sales on your account. Not only will you be on eBay's good side immediately and have less restrictions in the future, you'll know how to sell items, you know how to upload tracking appropriately, you'll know when to upload tracking appropriately, and you'll make sales in a few bucks if you do this right. So that would be my guideline. Get inside Tom's Facebook group. I'm going to post the link in the description below. You guys need to go check this out. Tom, what is the name of your group in case people just want to type it in their phones right now?
Called Dropshipping University, eBay, Amazon Mastermind. eBay, Amazon, Dropshipping Mastermind, I think.
Yes.
There's a lot of words in there.
Yeah, just look for it on the Facebook group.
Type in Dropshipping University.
Add, and you'll probably get they have like a small intro. You're going to be, gone through a vetting process, but as soon as they add you to the group, it's nonstop knowledge. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Even if somebody answers it with some kind of sly remark, there's people there who are going to help you. Everybody has their own opinion, and you're going to get the right answer. Maybe somebody may leave a sly comment every once in a while, but for the majority of the part, we're all there to help. And I'll reach out to you guys if I see the question and Tom will answer it. Just tag us and we'll come in and we'll answer it. Tell them you saw it from this YouTube video and we'll come in and we'll guide you, because I know a lot of you guys want to get started with this and you may have some questions or not enough time. We can walk you through the process. You just got to reach out to us and we'll show you how to get started. We did this ourselves. We started from scratch and this is how we got here. So I want to show you guys, so don't be afraid to reach out. All right, so those are some basic introductions for brand new sellers on eBay. Tom just fucking annihilated that for you guys. So next we're going to answer some questions about this guy right now. Ecom Tom, I want to know, why did you want to get into online businesses? What made you make that decision? What was the catalyst to make you jump into online business?
First off, I feel like anybody that's working their 9-to-5 job and says that that's what they actually want to do or it's their dream job, sure, it might be their dream job, but if you could wake up every morning, I had a pretty cushy job and it was a pretty good job, but if I want to sit there and make $60,000 a year and do absolutely nothing, that's what I was doing. But I feel that there's potential in my life. I feel like most people do feel that they're working their job whether they like it or not, and they really wish that they could be doing something else. And also, not to mention the fact that the online selling is only going to get bigger. That's where everybody's going. That's where everything is going. It's only going to get bigger from here. So it's pretty obvious that if you want to get into something new and exciting and something that really is scalable without ever having to touch items or anything like that, the whole online industry, whether it's drop shipping or anything, you're going to be making money as long as you're doing it right and properly. So, I was working as a chemical engineer, more of a chemistry type guy, but it's a chemical engineering job right out of the gates in college. I worked there for a year and a half, and I was making good money, like I said, $60,000 a year. But in reality, I knew that I needed to do more, and I was sitting at work. Sure, I only worked 3 out of the 8 hours a day. Most people say that sounds great, but in reality, I'm sitting there for 5 hours just twiddling my thumbs, hating what I'm doing. Why I'm wasting time. Why not just figure out something else, make more money, and also be able to wake up, roll out of my bed that's like right here, 2 feet away, hop on my computer and make more money than what I was doing. So that was kind of the biggest catalyst pusher for me. Like you said, start with thrifting. I started with flipping cell phones that I would buy, or video games off the internet from Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. It's basically the same thing. Finding an item for less, a physical product for less that you hold inventory of, putting it on eBay and flipping it. So I started doing that. Cell phones, I started making more money doing so, but then all of a sudden I was like, this is just, it's too physical. It's too much like you're relying on somebody else. Sure, if you go to the thrift store, you're not wearing or relying on somebody else to show up to sell you the item, but you also have to, realize that there's not always going to be great items at the thrift store. Items that come and go all the time there. So to me, I didn't really want to do anything where I had to go out and really try to find these things and rely on somebody else, where I could rely on myself and list what items I know have a high probability of selling. And with dropshipping, you don't have to buy the item until it sells on your store. So, I mean, the worst that happens is you list an item. That's it. If it doesn't sell, then you just take it down. I mean, that's the worst that could happen.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it really is. It's the ultimate business model in my eyes, just because of the fact that you are selling products. I'm selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of products a month, a year, $1 million worth of products last year. And I didn't see any of them. I mean, some of them because people would send it back, like send a return back to my home address without even telling me or something, not even open up a return case. But that's the anomaly. You don't have to worry about that. I never saw any of these items, and I did 55,000 sales last year, like 55,000 individual sales.
It's insane. So I just want to break this down to you guys too, in case you're like, oh my God, you got to be a genius to run this business. I am a college dropout, and I am on this live right now with Ecom Tom, who's a chemical engineer. And guess what? We both figured this out. We both did this. So it doesn't matter if you're a genius or if you're an individual like me who didn't even wind up finishing college. Now, I'm not saying I'm dumb as rocks, but I couldn't get through college and I still made it happen. Still made over $500,000 last year, while Tom made 1.3 million. That's his college education kicking in the background, just extending that $500,000 much further.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it's impossible. $500,000 was still nothing to frown upon. When I go to the bank and they're like, "Oh my God, you did $500,000 in sales," it's a pretty big accomplishment. So just be aware of that. You don't even need to be like the smartest man in the room to get this accomplished. All you need to do is pay attention, ask questions, and be dedicated. And like follow the guidelines that me and Tom are giving you guys right now. Start out with thrifting and work your way up. All right. So next question I want to drop on Tom. Tom, what are you up to now? What is the future for Ecom Tom? Where are you going?
Well, currently, I mean, I've just had my VAs pretty much running my entire eBay business for the last couple months. I started the new store, made videos on that, and really just wanted to prove that to anybody out there that's doubting it, you can start a brand new store and hit 20,000 in a month and in sales at 10+% profit, and in your first month you already have a decently profitable business. So after that, I started to focus more on Amazon. I had been doing Amazon in the background since early November of 2018. So inching up on a year into that, and that's pretty much what I've been growing a lot in the background, because I've realized that the Amazon onto eBay, the automated Amazon onto eBay of 2018, that just doesn't work anymore. The same thing is going on with Amazon, Walmart onto Amazon. People are doing that at the same rate and with the same low profit margins and fighting for scraps and doing all these sketchy things on the back end. And I realized that I hated that method towards the end of when they started flagging accounts. I was happy they were flagging my accounts because I knew I had to go out and find something different. And I'm happy that happened, because it was just an unsustainable business practice. And that's how I feel about Walmart or Home Depot onto Amazon. It's the same thing. It's really fighting for scraps, and it's just pretty unsustainable. There's always an issue. And I was doing it from November until about March. And I was like, I can't be doing this anymore. So from November until May. So in the past 3 months, I've actually, changed my model up, and it's really been pretty much the same thing as what I'm doing on eBay now with all these obscure suppliers and just going where other people aren't going. And I realized that you hit way higher profit margins. I'm averaging 13%, 14%, but I get some wild profit margins out there, 50, 70% profit margins, things like that. And, I'm more happy doing that because it's less items sold and more money made. And from there, with Amazon, I'm looking into getting and doing my first FBA shipment sometime next month, hopefully. I'm in the process of moving in the next 2 weeks, so I don't really want to have to go buy a bunch of stuff and then just have to bring it with me 14 hours in a car ride. So in next month, I'll probably start my first FBA shipment in. And that's really just all based off of an item that I was selling very well on Amazon that I realized was a great drop shipping product. So why not buy it and then send it into Prime, FBA, and then mark it up, because FBA is usually, or Prime items are usually way more expensive than they should be because they're going to get it to you in 2 days.
That's
and
fantastic.
From there, just building other social media platforms. Instagram, I've been focusing on a lot. We went from no followers on Instagram in February, or barely any, I think 460 it may have been. And now we're at almost 35,000. So we can grow that up, YouTube and everything. So
that's phenomenal. So so basically you had an item that you noticed was like a killer, and you just went out, find the wholesaler for that product, and I'm going to buy a wholesale, basically.
No, I'm going to end up buying it straight from the retailer, but it's a retail-ish wholesale supplier. You get a discount if you buy more.
Okay.
And I contacted them. I was like, well, this is a discount if I buy 3. What if I buy 100? What's the discount there? It should be a lot less. And from there, it's just an item I had drop shipped a ton, and I realized the listing kept getting more and more and more popular. And in June, I sold the item on Amazon 300 times. So
that's amazing.
It's pretty much where I was just like, I'd be losing money to not send it into FBA and make more money doing so.
Yeah. See, so even with the business he's running now, he's learning how to improve it to make even more money. So this is why you want to pay attention to him. We're going to drop his link in the description as well. You need to be following Ecom Tom. He comes out with some of the most amazing videos that teach you guys how to get started with literally nothing. If it wasn't for this guy, if it wasn't for this guy right here, I might still be trying to figure out how to make $1. So, so with that being said, all right. So I want to know what you think the future holds for dropshippers, and how do you feel about eBay constantly making all these changes? What is your opinion about it, and what do you think it holds for dropshippers? Do we have a place on eBay in the future?
Yes, I do believe so. So the future, I believe, and it's rightfully so, eBay's making all these policy changes. The Amazon onto eBay business model that we were running last year was extremely abusive. Anybody that did it, you can agree that it was extremely abusive policy. And, no platform. If you run a platform, if you're the owner of eBay and you see thousands and thousands of people just listing tens of hundreds of thousands of items and just neglecting their stores, I would do something about it as well. So I do believe there will always be a place. Obviously, they're pushing more of the wholesale drop shipping route nowadays. And I do think that that'll probably end up becoming the majority of what needs to be done. But at the moment, we've been doing this wave now, the manual eBay drop shipping for 8 months, and nothing's changed. Honestly, 8 months with no change, to me, that's heaven sent. That's great, because the e-commerce sphere, no matter what, you have to think about it, it's pretty damn new. It's a very new thing. People have been selling things in stores for hundreds of thousands of years, for a long, long time. But the online storefront, if you think about it, hasn't been around for that long. Nobody was really buying Amazon Prime more than 15 years ago. I think they came out 2007 with Amazon Prime. So you have to realize that these things are constantly changing, and these platforms really are just trying to find a new way to stay ahead of other platforms, and they're going to change. It's going to happen. You have to just be there to adapt with them, and then you're good in my mind.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree less. I think dropshippers are going to have a place in the future, if not be substantially better off than where they are now. I feel like they are going to own real estate within the e-commerce atmosphere, if you want to go that depth into it. And I feel like this opportunity is just prime right now. You're in the gold mine of this century to be 100% as, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I'm trying to tell you right now is a good time to get involved and to jump into it and learn, because it's only going to get bigger from here and the competition is only going to grow. So get started now. All right. So with that being said, Tom, I want to know, what do you want to accomplish next? What is Ecom Tom, the $1.3 million man, setting his sights on and his goals onto next? What is next?
So I'll give you a little sneak peek. I don't want to go towards Shopify. I just think that it's over talked about, it's overhyped, and I think that you can tell based off of its stock price recently, if anybody follows the stock market, that it's blowing the hell up. And I think it's blowing up for the wrong reasons. I think there's way too many gurus out there that are just pushing Shopify because they know that it's the big buzz and keyword right now. You don't see too many big gurus out there in the eBay dropshipping sphere. There's literally only like 6 of us that make videos or 7 of us that make videos on YouTube, where for Shopify, it's all over the place. So I don't really want to do that. And I don't think it's really the way to go, but I really want to start looking into, and Jason and I, my business partner, Jason, has been talking about it recently. And we want to start looking at like some alternative marketplaces, not eBay, not Amazon, and just seeing how those smaller marketplaces go, like Etsy or something like that. Because I do believe that although there are less people that are going onto these websites every day, there's also way, way, way less people that are drop shipping on there or really know how to sell on these websites. So if we become proficient in it, then we can teach other people, and other people will be making huge profit margins. I can guarantee you that the margins are huge on these other websites. So it's kind of what I want to start looking into after, we drop the Amazon course, which should come out in about 2 or 3 months, and, really start to build up Amazon, keep it at a steady state place. And it's completely automated on my side with my virtual assistant. So it's just more of listing more items. I really, no lie, on my Amazon store right now, I'm hitting about 45,000 in sales at like pretty high profit margins. And there's less than 150 items on it. So
it's insane.
If I already have another spreadsheet of like 80 items that I already have vetted out. So once I list that on there, I'm sure it'll get close to the $100,000 range. And from there, I don't want to grow it any higher. I don't want to be the guy that's saying, hey, I sold $1 million a month on Amazon. It eventually just becomes very unsustainable. And I'd rather just have a steady source of income. If I have $50,000 at 10% profit margin coming in from Amazon a month, that's $5,000. That's what I was making at my chemical engineering job. I got eBay coming in. I have course sales and other things like that. At that point, I'm okay with it. I'd rather go into another avenue and learn something else.
Jeez, that's so amazing. That's so fascinating. Like I think you guys, for me, I'm grasping this information and I'm just holding on to it. But like what I just heard from Tom just say is, I am going to pioneer the next wave of new entrepreneurs to learn how to make money in alternative atmospheres or e-commerce venues where it's an untapped market and the competition is low. So when I hear things like that, it gets my mind going, because it's just fascinating to me that what you can learn with your basic drop shipping skills to bring into the next evolutionary state to only grow further. So it's just a chain. Like this is a web that's going to keep building and building and building. Eventually Tom Comier is going to own a Wayfair or something like that, and you're going to see it come out soon.
Dope.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But in the time being, he's setting his presence up in other retail websites until he does that. So I'm thinking the future here, guys, but honestly, you're seeing it happen, and this is unfolding. Like this is how Tom did $1.3 million. Okay, like I can't explain this enough. Like it's a lot of money to manage. If you ever touched $1 million, then you'd know. Trust me, I was doing $50,000 to $100,000 in a month. It's a lot of money to manage. So when you can hold that much money and move it, these are how you get to that next level. So we're talking about moving into the hundred millions of dollars after this. This is just the beginning of what's going to come from this, okay? So like this is why I'm trying to express to you guys, the drop shipping atmosphere is going to keep growing. If you start learning it and getting the basics down and learning the fundamentals, you're just opening yourself up for future opportunities for business growth and development. And you're hearing it first. So with that being said, Tom, I got one more question I kind of want to know, and this is going to be the most frustrating question you're going to get, and we're going to hit it because I know you can't answer it, but I want to just throw it out there, see if you came up with something. So Tom, what is something no one knows about you?
I don't know anything that no one knows about me. I'm sure there's something out there, but I can tell you there's stuff that majority of the people don't know about me. Like honestly, I mean, I went to this engineering school and whatnot, but like, I don't even know if I would have gotten in there without wrestling. And that was a big part of my background and my original, when I was younger. So when I was 18, from when I was 14 to 18, I got really into wrestling. And I think that that was very integral in what taught me the mentality that I try to bring into my everyday in business. And my coaches would always talk about it at the clubs that I went to and stuff, whereas like, people love hiring wrestlers and everything like that, but it's definitely a thing because it's a grueling sport. It's absolutely insane that I would cut I wrestled 138 pounds my senior year of high school at the same height I'm at now, at like a deathly sick, like low body fat percentage.
Yeah, you definitely don't look 138. I can tell you that.
Not anymore, like 190. But it's just that mentality really got me, going and just grinding it out every day and just doing what I don't want to do, even though I know I have to do it. Like there's tons of things that I do every day that I'm like, wow, this is awful, but I do it anyways. And I think that that was one of the biggest things. And also it set me up to get put into a pretty tough school that I got recruited for wrestling for. And, being there, that was also not a very easy endeavor. And I pushed through that.
Yeah. So like, all right. So you basically turned something that you didn't know would be something phenomenal into something phenomenal. It pushed you into a great school and you took advantage of it. There's nothing to be, that's just really good. That's a smart move on your part, all in all. So I think that's amazing. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that wrestling helped you out with that, man.
I think it did.
Yeah, it sounds like it did. All right, so now we're going to drop into this. So I also wanted to give a shout out to all these people who asked these Facebook questions. So I'm going to post your name in this, and I'm going to give you a shout out on Tom's Facebook group for even asking these questions. We're going to make sure you guys are still doing okay. And I just want to reach out and say thank you guys for even dropping some questions onto this post so that we can answer them. And this is us giving back to you, showing that we are listening. This is happening right now. I know it took a little bit longer than it was supposed to, but hey, we're here now and we're answering these, okay? So first question is, we got somebody on here, it's Eric Escamilla. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And they want to know, I still can't put multiple locations on my items. Every time I remove the zip code and add multiple locations, it just shows my hometown. Will this cause a problem with eBay? I've sold about 2,200 in the last 30 days and 3,000 since I started May 2nd. I just got done going over the free mini course and I am about to purchase the full course. So I want to know, how would you answer that question, Tom?
Well, I do believe he is in the full course now, so I think you might have his answer. But from everything I've seen, and I've never run into this issue, and I know that the main reason why I've never run into this issue, from what I believe is the answer, is that you need to have an eBay store in order to have this to work. For some reason, if you don't have a store on eBay, if you just use your regular basic eBay account, then it won't let you do multiple locations. I have no idea why, but if you get the eBay store, I always suggest starting off with a basic store right off the bat. And, not only do you get lower eBay final value fees, it goes from 10% to 9.15%. If you're doing over $2,900 in sales a month, you're losing money not having a store. But I do believe it's just because he didn't have a store. And I have seen some people in the course talk about that and eventually realized that it's because they hadn't bought a store yet. Awesome. So listen to what I say is basically the answer to that question.
All right. Awesome. I appreciate it. I think that's a fantastic answer. I want to give out some shout outs to the people who actually responded to this too, because not only is the question important, but it's also the people who responded as well, because these are the people you want to talk to. So Jason Reeves, I want to say thank you for even commenting on this, trying to help. You gave great answers to this. Who else do we have that jumped in here? We have, and Finn Watson. Finn Watson wanted to know how to get up to 5K profit a month, i.e. research tips, margins, SEO, and how many listings. Ooh, that's a good one. All right, so Tom, I'm going to let you answer this, and I'm going to drop my 2 cents. So let's go. What do you got?
I mean, the real question is, where are you at right now? Because I feel like a lot of people, and this happens a lot on Instagram, and I think because there's so many Shopify gurus on Instagram that I get hit up constantly. First off, I talk about dropshipping, they always think I'm talking about Shopify, even though it says eBay. But I mean, it's really where are you at right now? Because if you're thinking about hitting $5,000 in profit a month right off the bat, or in your second or third month without knowing what you're doing, I think you're looking at it wrong, and you're going to set yourself up for failure because you're constantly thinking about how you're going to hit this pretty awesome amount of money that hit every month. If you're hitting $5,000 profit a month, like I said, you're making as much as I did at my chemical engineering job. So think about it that way. If you're already in this and you've been doing this for a while, then I would say with the new manual method that we've been doing, you're probably going to need about 650 good listings, and you'll hit about, maybe a little bit less, and you'll hit about 50,000 in sales. And around 50,000 in sales, you'll hit about 10% profit margin. So as long as you're doing that, then that's pretty much what you need to do. For research tips, I mean, always use Zik Analytics. It's just the best way to go about it. I mean, I'm not even saying that because I affiliate it. I don't care if you use my link. You can just use Zik Analytics. I've been using it since the first ever course I bought on eBay dropshipping over 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, and I've been using it ever since. And I've never canceled the subscription, even before I had an affiliate or before I had a YouTube channel. I never canceled it. It's a great program to use. And if you're using Zik Analytics, look for items that have sold at least 3 times in the last 30 days, 4 times last 30 days to snipe from people. Besides that, I mean, SEO, I don't think really matters that much based off your title. I think if you copy the other person's title, then you should be good, because that person's already proven that the item is selling at that price and selling that many times per month. So if you take their title, I mean, just tweak it a little bit. Besides that, fill out everything possible when you're making your listing, your item specifics, make your picture look nice and everything like that, and you should be good to go.
Yep, I think that's a great response. So I'm going to just add a couple of things into this as well. Finn Watson, I think you're asking a lot for 5K profit a month. First off, I need to know where you're at right now. And what I mean by that is, if you haven't generated 1,000, I would reduce it. I would try making 100. Once you make $100 a month, bump it up to 500. Once you make 500, then bump it up to 1,000. You gotta do this in steps. If you don't, you're biting off too much of the elephant without being able to take it down. Like, you're trying to take down an elephant by yourself right now. 5K is an elephant. You just heard Tom just say it's as much as he made in a month doing his chemical engineering job. And you know how much it cost him to probably be able to get that chemical engineering job when he paid for school in the first place. So that's your elephant, okay? You need to tackle your elephant. And your elephant is, you got to start with 1 foot at a time, man. And I want you to get to $100 first and then work your way up. But I am going to drop you some tips here because I could tell that you're interested in this. So my one tip, Tom, he has a really good advantage over here. And I know he uses Websterons, which is fantastic, but it takes a little bit of a curve to know it. So I'm going to drop an extra tip on you guys. You need to get involved with Jet. Jet is another wholesaler that is basically a drop shipper for Walmart, and I use Jet like no tomorrow. I sold so many items from Jet, it was ridiculous. You need to learn how to combine double items that are selling. I used to sell this fan. It was a black fan, and I would combine it because I knew how well it would sell, and I'd sell 2 at a time. And Walmart was always out of stock of the black fan, but people wanted it in color black, so I would constantly sell it from jet.com and make a killing. Now you got this other stupid thing that was like a turkey roaster that everybody sold, and it's where you put your turkey inside, and it's the extra attachments that are for barbecuing, okay? And you could get the item straight from Walmart, or you could go to jet.com and get it even cheaper, including shipping being cheaper, including having no tax exemption being cheaper. So you need to learn your research, and you need to look for outside sources other than Walmart and Amazon and Home Depot. There's a lot of money to be made out there. Then you need to look into your cashback credit cards. You need to make sure you're maximizing your cashback. You want to make sure all areas are taken care of, because in order to maximize your profit, you need to increase where your money's coming from. And what I mean by that, you need to build like channel funnels for all your money, okay? And you want to look for discounts where you can on the items that you're purchasing, whether it be price matching from one supplier to another. You want to increase your profits using cashback credit cards. You want to make your customers happy by getting tax exempt and showing them that their prices are reduced compared to what your competitors are paying. You want to maximize when a price sells by using alternative apps such as like Ernie and Swiggle and looking for price drops. You need to combine all these things to maximize and increase your profit. Okay, so that's one thing I would tell you to do right now. That includes your research tips and your margins. You need to keep your margins low. Competition is always high. So if I were you, I generally stay in the 5% margin. When I did $7,000 in a month, I had a 7% margin and I moved over $105,000 in 1 month. If it wasn't combined with my other store that was doing $20,000 in a month, I did $125,000. I almost did $8,000, if not more, in that 1 month. Was it awesome? It was terrific, but it took a lot of work and it took months and months of building up to that point. Okay, SEO and how many listings? These are questions that are kind of like hard to answer because you could have a small amount of listings and do this exactly right. I had less than 70 listings and I had already reached over $50,000 in sales. So it's not that impossible. You just got to learn what is selling, how to reduce your price over your competitors, and how to take that advantage over your competitors. Okay? All right. So Renzo Belena Herrera wants to know, how does he avoid getting flagged? Is it still viable to dropship from Amazon, Walmart to eBay? You can answer this, Tom. I want to know what you got.
I mean, if you're not using any API software, like we've talked all at the beginning of this live interview, whatever it is, if you're not using any of that, you're probably not going to get flagged. I do not suggest using Amazon at all just because of how often the price changes and how often, and the fact that they have their own Amazon tracking numbers and things like that. Just avoid Amazon nowadays. You're going to get an MC011 restriction probably pretty early on. Besides that, you can still use Walmart. You can still use Home Depot. But as Brian said, as long as like the course that I teach, I provide 20 suppliers for my students in there. So you're going to have other suppliers, and all these other suppliers are going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of less people selling them. Hundreds of less people. There's times I was on an Amazon item where there was 400 people selling it last year. And Walmart, I'm sure there's still tons of people that are selling Walmart items, 60, 70, 100 on a listing. But if you take out the time to either, differentiate yourself with bundles or multi-packs or something like that, or if you go and just use a different supplier. Not every supplier can be on eBay's radar. And as long as you're doing and providing great customer service and running your store properly, you will be fine. And I mean, we have tons of students that are proving that. And it's really just don't do things eBay doesn't want you to do, which we stated all of them at the beginning of this.
Hell yeah. So that's your answer for that, Renzo. I hope that helps. Justin Davis, when will the video be on YouTube? Can you post a link for all of us? This is about 1 month shy of when it was actually supposed to be out. So it is coming out shortly, and we are finishing up this recording. We got about 2 more questions, so I just want to give you an answer for that. Thanks for even asking that question, man. All right, Bobby over here, big Bobby Sarath. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. Probably not.
I butcher it all the time.
It's very hard. Bobby, your last name is crazy hard to pronounce. Please change it. But how to skyrocket your sales. Bobby wants to know how to skyrocket your sales. Hit him, Tom. Hit him with the $1.3 million answer. What is it?
I mean, if you want to skyrocket your sales, you can't be doing this all on your own. That's the number one thing. There's different tips.
Yes.
There's different tricks. There's all sorts of different things you could be doing. But if you're doing it all by yourself, then you're spending too much time working in your business and not on growing your business. So if you don't hire virtual assistants after a while, then you are completely screwing yourself over and you're limiting yourself, honestly. I've had virtual assistants since before I listed my first ever item on eBay just because I heard it was a thing to do. Nowadays, I have four eBay and Amazon virtual assistants. We have 2 or 3 for Instagram. We just hired 6 new VAs last week to run a lot of different things going on in the back end. You need to be hiring virtual assistants, and it's not like you need to be hiring them full time right off the bat. I know a lot of people that start this are short on money. They're short on cash. They don't really have the money to pay for a VA, but you don't have to pay $250, $300 a month full time for your virtual assistant. You can pay them 10 hours a week, 5 hours a week. Hell, you could even pay them 1 hour a week. They're not going to help you out very much at 1 hour a week, but you see what I'm talking about. If they list five hours a week, if they find and list items for you, and some of those items sell, like say 1 or 2 or 3, and you end up making $30 profit. You paid for your VA at that point in time. For 1 week at 5 hours, you more than paid for your VA, because you're not paying them. You're paying them about $2-3 an hour. So you probably paid for your VA at that point in time. Why not give them more hours or go get another one? It's really all about thinking about where you are now, and don't think about how to save as much money, because you can only save as much money. If you have this many expenses in 1 month, $1,500 in expenses in 1 month, $2,000 in expenses in 1 month, you can only save so much money. Say you somehow manage to save money on all of your expenses, no matter it's your living expenses or your business expenses. Say you saved it all. If you saved all of it, you're still not saving as much money as you could be making if you just reinvested it. You could just reinvest and keep getting virtual assistants and outsourcing and teaching them. And then you're not running your business anymore. Somebody else is. You can only work probably 14 hours a day in front of a computer before your eyeballs fall out of your head.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while, but it's definitely not fun. I can tell you that. But what if you're working 8 hours a day till your eyeballs almost fall out of your head, and then you have a VA also doing that at 8 hours a day? That's 16. You're already at more than what you could do on your own.
Boom.
So That's my answer. I can't push VAs enough, and I feel that still, as much as I try to push it, I feel like some people just don't realize the power of the virtual assistant.
It's hard, and I get it. I get what you guys are going through, but Tom just gave you the answer, like the golden goose egg of what you really need. Like, it is a virtual assistant. So I just did some math over on the side right here to help you guys figure this out. So basically, if you were to go to onlinejobs.ph and file for one subscription, I believe it's $60 a month still currently, right, Tom?
It might be 75.
All right, so if we increase it by $15 extra, because I put it in as 60. If it's $75 a pop, you make one payment, you post on there one time to hire a virtual assistant. Now, you don't want to just hire one, you want to hire a bunch of them and vet them all out at once, okay? You want to hire like 5 or 6 and see which one is the best one and which one is going to work. If you paid them to find you 2 items a day at $3 per item and $6, and you multiplied that by 30, after all your expenses, that's $255 for one entire month. And they're working to find at least 2 items a day, which is helping increasing your sales on eBay and helping to show eBay that you're constantly listing. That's 2 items. Now, you could do that as well when you get home, and now you're doubling up. For less than an hour, you can now list 4 items, and you're paying $255, and your sales will probably cover that, as long as your margins are decent enough. So, I don't know. That's just a basic breakdown if you guys want to get into it, but I feel like that's just not a lot of money, and you can at least start with that. $255 is really good. So, I think that's phenomenal. And then I want to get into this last question right here, and I'm afraid we can't answer this one. I think I'm going to do my own video on this. I think you should too, Tom. This one is from Carlos Alvarado, and he wants to know how to set up SKU Grid. He's struggling with that. So I think that's a phenomenal question, and I think a lot of people have struggled with it. I can't tell you how many times I've been hit up about this, and I just think you should do a video on it, and I may too, just to show people.
I can do a basic video on it, but if I had to do a full video on it, it would probably take like 4 hours.
You should do a basic video on it, or maybe a video series. I may put one out too, but I get it because a lot of people are struggling with that.
But they have a lot of good support. Like, they have support reps that have answered all of my questions. I had an item on Amazon. I connected one item onto SKU Grid Amazon, using it for my Amazon store because it's a supplier that Web Scraper app doesn't have. And it was, pricing with the person. I had it set up to, stay at their lowest price. And then all of a sudden I sold it one day. I was like, wow, I hadn't sold it for like 3 weeks. I don't know why it sold. And then it turns out that it dropped down to like my lowest possible price. And I was like, what the hell happened? And it turned out that I had like the weirdest settings set that didn't trip it until like 3 weeks in, until like this dude repriced it at the same time I was trying to reprice and follow his price. It was some stupid just coincidence and series of events that happened, and all of a sudden my price went down to the very bottom. I still made money on it. I ended up making like 20% on it because some dude bought expedited shipping with it. But either way, there's always little tips and tricks and things that are going to come up that you don't even know what's going to happen. Contact their support, read their support forums, watch their videos on YouTube. You should be good.
Right. And I'll probably put out a little mini series on this too, because I know there's so many questions about it.
Yeah.
So contact their support too, but I'll try and run something by you guys. All right, so last but not least, I want to give a shout out to everybody that even liked or supported this post, because we got a lot of people on here. So I want to give a shout out to Jason. Yo, your business partner, Jason. I'll have him on here too, because he's phenomenal. And I know he's doing his wholesale thing, and he's kind of in the background a lot, and I want to give him some FaceTime, so I'll have him on here. So
It's funny when I have him on a live and people are like, who's that guy next to me?
He's cool. He
He just
really
hit a
cool.
sale 4 or 5 days ago, I believe, on his wholesale eBay dropshipping. And it was some like laboratory in Oregon that needed stuff for their laboratory. He was selling like laboratory type stuff. And it was a $5,000 sale.
Jeez.
One sale. I was like, what? He made like over $1,000 profit from that one sale.
You guys need to learn from these two. All right?
And one of the items was out of
Jason.
stock, and he was like, oh, shit. So he contacted him like, oh, this one's out of stock. We can only get you 2 and not 3. And they're like, oh, well, we'll take that. And then we'll also take like 3 more of these. So they ended up buying like another $1,000 from him.
Nice. Good for Jason. That's phenomenal. So I want to shout out Ron Myers for being the man. Still cool as hell, and I got to reach out to him because he runs his own software company, and it's phenomenal. Bobby, so he's up here too. What up, Bobby? Stephen Hang, who's always around. Like, Stephen's a really good guy. Jason, Muhammad Abdullah, I want to say, hey, what's up to you? Devin Chi, eBay, DS Hero. We got Dimitri Emelianavo. We got Chrissy Mateus and Dana Liss.
My virtual assistant.
Oh, she's fucking awesome then. Heads
Chrissy
up.
is, yeah.
Yeah. And we got Dana Ales, so she's saying hands up and thumbs up to that too. So I want to tell all you guys, like, thank you so much. And I hope we answered as many questions as we could. You got an interesting topic here. Like, I'm selling, this is what entrepreneurship looks like right here. This is it. So you got $500,000 by me, and you got 1.3 million by Tom. So this is what you guys want to learn from, okay? And I hope we
notice the backgrounds in our and where we're living in our videos. Don't live above your means. Live in a shitty apartment. Save some money or something.
It's actually 100% true. Like, I have a check sitting right in front of me for another $200 extra. Like, I wish I could show it to you guys, but somebody's going to copy all the information and go cash it. But like, that's why I'm not showing it to you guys. But you've seen our posts. Like, I will post like images of what I've done. Like, you got to live small, make sure that you're saving all your money and counting it back up, and just keep grinding. Just keep putting in the work and asking questions and reaching out to everybody. Obviously, Tom's group is over, 16,000 people. They don't follow him because he's not doing something. He's out there working and grinding. So that's proof of its own right there, okay? And his followers on YouTube and Instagram, it's phenomenal. So he's doing something right, and you guys got to understand that. This isn't just BS coming out of both of our mouths. We're actually trying to help you guys, okay? So if you guys have any more questions, please drop them in the chat box down below. If you have any other things you want us to see, if you want more information about me or Tom's links are going to be posted in the description. Once again, he owns his own Facebook group. He has his own course if you guys want to get involved with that. We also have, what else does Tom runs his own Instagram pages. You can follow him on Instagram. He's everywhere. He's doing everything.
YouTube
okay
channel.
And he's got his own YouTube channel. Most importantly, his own YouTube channel, Ecom Tom. Get on that and subscribe to him. It would mean the world to both of us. And I don't know. I wanted to say thank you guys for even being a part of this and sticking around. And let's continue grinding and keep putting in the work. All right, guys. And that's it. Tom, you want to finish off with anything?
I mean, you pretty much hit it all on the head right there. It's just never give up. Put in the work. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You're going to have to actually learn things, and you're not just going to have $10,000 profit pop in your bank account month one. Let's be honest here. But if you put in the work, if you put, you come home from work every day, 9 to 5, whatever it is, you have a certain amount of hours, and you can choose to do what you want with them. And if you're going to sit there, and if you're going to watch the newest thing on Netflix or whatever series just came out, or The Bachelor, or whatever the hell just happened last night, where I saw a bunch of Snapchats about it, then you're not going to be making money. You can't expect to at that point in time. But if you sit down, or if your friends, this is the biggest thing, me not going out on the weekends. And although I did this weekend, it's the past weekend since I've become an entrepreneur and worked on my own, there's been many weekends where I don't go out, and that was like the biggest change in my lifestyle. You're going to go out, get drunk, spend $100 at the bar and not remember half of it, where you could not spend that $100, learn something and work towards building up your career and your future self. Why not do that? So that's what I suggest. Thank you for having me on. Go check out my YouTube channel, any of the free mini courses, the paid course, anything like that. Ask me if you have questions, comment on my YouTube videos, any questions you got, and that's about all I got here.
Yep, so just follow and subscribe if you guys like this stuff. I'm trying to change up my style, be a little bit more hype in my videos so I can give you guys a little bit more extra. So if you guys like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, tell me go back to your original stuff. We don't like this, it's too crazy. Or
stop the energy.
It's just jam-packed with energy. Or if you guys really, really like it, hit that subscribe button and I'll give you a smile. See? All right. I want to say thank you guys for even being a part of this, and we'll catch you later. Peace.
Peace.